Hello and welcome to Set for Smash Moveset Concept, where we take a look at video game characters and see how they would play in the world of Super Smash Bros. And welcome to Fighter Pass number 6, aka the Fan Poll Fighter Pass. Back in spring, I made a fan poll of the top 100 characters of your choice and asked who would you like to see get a potential moveset concept. And after your results, and one community poll tiebreaker, along with a few delays thanks to other projects, sorry about that, it's about time we showed you the top 5 most requested characters according to this fan poll. Just note, if a character did not make it into this list, that doesn't mean they'll get a moveset concept in the near future. So let's begin our first moveset concept, starting with 5th place. Our first character in our fan poll, at 5th place, is a character that's also been a part of my personal backlog, the one and only Paper Mario. Though originally planned to be a sequel for Super Mario RPG for the Nintendo 64, the game was eventually reworked into a brand new RPG entirely for the Mario series, known as Paper Mario, or as it's known in Japan, the Mario Storybook series. More specifically, the original and the sequel, The Thousand-Year Door. The Paper Mario series has actually had a quite long legacy, appearing on a lot of modern consoles as of late. Though the series did take a drastic change from story and quality in some, I actually still hold the first 2 games as well as Super Paper Mario in high regard, though I have never touched any of the newer generation stuff. And from what a lot of people tell me, it's probably best if I avoided most of them entirely, especially Sticker Star. Though I'll try my best to be unbiased on his moveset, trying to properly blend the world and mechanics of the Paper Mario series, will Paper Mario fit perfectly in the pages of Super Smash Bros? Let's find out. Beginning with the details, the series symbol is the Mario series symbol. Though Paper Mario is a different franchise entirely, the character and setting still takes place in the world of Mario. Though being another variant of Mario, Paper Mario is completely different from his counterpart. For one, being slightly shorter than him, not to mention his drastic change in stats. As Paper Mario is one of the lightest characters in Smash Bros. Considering, well, he's made of paper. Since he's got lighter weight, he also has an average speed, and unfortunately doesn't get any better with his stats as his attack is below average and his defense is surprisingly weak. You don't have a lot of HP in the Paper Mario series, so you best strategize on that one. However, where he's actually above average is in both his knockback and his jumping ability, meaning his hard-hitting attacks can send his foes flying, and yeah, considering he is still Mario, his jumping is still pretty good. Not to mention, he's light as, well, paper. He doesn't have any additional movement options, however, if he is in water, he will take small damage. As Paper Mario can swim, his paper-like body makes him not as absorbent to water, unfortunately. When he enters from a stage, he pops out of a storybook. The same storybook that appears in Mario & Luigi Paper Jam. For his taunts, obviously for his first one, it's his iconic appeal, as I feel like it would have been criminal if Paper Mario did not have this taunt. His second taunt is his escape animation, where he does a small jump and then trips on himself. And for his third taunt, he throws confetti in the air. This is actually a reference to the more recent title of the series, Paper Mario the Origami King. There's also a secret bonus taunt, but I'll get to that momentarily. As for Paper Mario's color palettes, of course, his first one is his iconic default design. Color Palette 2 gives him a Luigi variant, which is also an equipable badge found in Paper Mario the Thousand-Year Door. Color Palette 3 is his Fire Mario palette, which I still find surprising that regular Mario does not have as a color palette. Color Palette 4 gives him the color palette for Wario, another sticker that can be equipped in Thousand-Year Door. Color Palette 5 is a Smash original, giving him the color palette inspired by Bubble Mario from Super Mario Wonder. This one's more for a personal choice, as it also balances out with the Fire Mario color palette. Color Palette 5 gives him the Waluigi color palette, when you equip both the Wario and the Luigi badges in Thousand-Year Door. Color Palette 7 gives him his classic look from the original Mario Bros., inverting his colors, giving him a brighter orange overalls. And for his final color palette, well, I actually don't know who that is. All I generally know is they appear in the Thousand-Year Door. And finally, for Paper Mario's victory animations. For Paper Mario's first victory animation, one of the random collectibles you can get in the main story of the Paper Mario games appears above Paper Mario and he'll hold his hand in the air. A reference to when you beat every chapter in the Paper Mario series. Victory animation 2 has Paper Mario messing with his hat and then he gives a thumbs up in front of the audience. A reference to his victory battle animation when he defeats an opponent. And for his final and unique victory animation, when the match says game, a curtain rises in front of the screen, showing a stage, and Paper Mario comes in front of it with a light shine upon him. And then he waves to the audience. A reference to both the level up animation from the Paper Mario series, as well as the final chapter ending of the Paper Mario games. His victory theme is the battle victory from Thousand Year Door. Next up is the standard attacks. For his jab, he'll use a standard wood hammer, the weakest of the hammers that you get in the early game. His dash attack will be his spin dash, no not that one, from the original Paper Mario. His side tilt is the same as his jab, as he'll use the wood hammer yet again. His up tilt, he'll actually use the spike hat and do a small little jump, and his down tilt will have him plucking out a sticker. For his smash attacks, his side smash, he'll use the super hammer, the second strongest version of the hammer. His up smash, he'll do an upward hammer swing, similar to the badge Fire Drive, and his down smash, he'll use the spin smash, more specifically the super hammer variant. Next are his aerials, with his standard aerial transforming himself into a shuriken, spinning in a circle, causing slow chip damage, similar to the Bros move found in Paper Jam. His forward aerial will be a forward boot kick, referencing a similar animation that regular Mario does in Super Mario 64. His back aerial, he'll get his hammer out and do a power swing. His up aerial will be a spin kick, similar to Mario's, and for his down aerial, he'll do a downward foot stomp, referencing how he steps on his opponents. For his grabbing animations, his arms actually turn into the 1000-fold arms, which also have a tether recovery. When he grabs a foe, he'll pummel them by tightening his grip, or by giving him a paper cut with his hands. For his forward throw, he actually picks them up, and at any time you can actually throw your opponents, depending on how high their damage is, similar to Donkey Kong's forward throw, but more a reference to Super Paper Mario. For his back throw, he'll attach a Tanuki tail sticker and slap his opponents behind him. His up throw, he'll swing his opponents upwards with his 1000-fold arms, similar to this image of him using a fishing pole. And for his down throw, he'll slam his opponents using the 1000-fold arms, crashing the foes into the ground. Now, we get to Paper Mario's special attacks, starting with his standard special. More specifically, one of his standard specials, as if you press and hold the B button, you'll activate the action command. Paper Mario will go into a thinking position, similar to the turn-based strategies, and you'll be able to choose from 3 different categories of fighting styles that affect your special moves. Each of the 3 icons represent different type of moves that Paper Mario will be able to use. The first is the jump commands. This will turn all of Paper Mario's special attacks into jump-based movements. Next is the action command for hammer, which will allow Paper Mario to use his hammer-based moves. And lastly is the partner commands, where depending on the move you activate, we'll have Paper Mario's partners appear doing a specific attack. That means instead of 4 special attacks per character, Paper Mario has 12, if not 13 separate special moves. But I did this to make the moveset feel more like the turn-based strategies found in the original Paper Mario games. And even though the newer variants are different, they still use the turn-based mechanics in some way or form. You can also press shield and press the B button to quickly activate your commands. Now, what are these commands? Well, for standard special for jump, I went with the more iconic fan favorite special, the Power Bounce. When you tap the B button, Mario will jump in an upward arc, and if he happens to jump on an opponent, if you tap the B button, Mario will continuously bounce on the person at max up to 5 times, with the 5th attack sending the character flying the farthest. Though if you fail to time the input perfectly, the character will fly half as far. The standard special for the hammer variant is the hammer throw. Though normally you hold the B button for hammer-based attacks, by tapping the B button you just throw the hammer, but if you press the left button while holding the B button, you can charge the hammer throw, similar to how you charge the hammer attack in Paper Mario. And for the partner standard special, it'll be the Goomba Head Bonk, where a Goomba-based character will jump in an upward arc, similar to Mario's Power Bounce, but will only attack the character twice. Now, note I said Goomba partner. I haven't decided whether or not I'd use the original ones from the original Paper Mario or the fan favorite ones from Thousand Year Door, so I'll let you guys in the comments decide. Also, as a fun little Easter egg, If you happen to have a Goomba partner in battle, if you activate a specific taunt on a specific stage, your Goomba partner will activate their tattle ability and give fun, interesting facts about each of your opponents. The Kirby hat will give Kirby a Mario-themed hat, but it will also give him a white outline, making him look like he's made out of paper. For the side specials, for the jump variant, it's the multi-bounce, where Mario will jump up to 3 times if he successfully hits an opponent. This is great for crowd control and high damage potential, as depending on how much damage an opponent has, if Paper Mario successfully times his jump perfectly on them, the opponent will actually get sent flying in the same direction as when Mario's going to land his next jump. The hammer variant of the side special is the Power Smash. It might look like a regular hammer to some people, but it gives Paper Mario super armor, and if timed right, more specifically if you charge it at the right time, it'll do high amounts of damage that could easily KO your opponent, even at low damage like 50%. And for the partner side special, it's the Koopa Troopa Shell Toss. It's basically the partner move when you're outside a battle, but Paper Mario will jump on the Koopa Troopa and then fling his shell forward and then back at Paper Mario. And if you hold the B button, the Koopa shell will actually stay in place even in the air momentarily, increasing the power of the shell's impact when it returns. For the up specials, the jump variant is the Spring Jump. By holding the up B special, Paper Mario will start springing himself up, and when fully charged or when he let goes, will make a massive jump upwards. It's definitely the most powerful upward special, however it does come at a cost. It barely has any good horizontal movement, and 2, it works similarly to King Deity's up special, as Paper Mario will slam back down unless you cancel the attack animation. The hammer variant of his up special is the Ultra Hammer Spin, another charging move that's mostly used for high knockback and slightly above average upward horizontal range. It's definitely more useful to handle opponents on the edge, but it definitely is the weakest when it comes to upward mobility. And for the partner up special, a Paper Mario Classic character, Parakarry, will use his signature move, Liftoff. Though it is based off the move that Parakarry uses in battle, it's actually more inspired by the partner move. Parakarry will actually help Paper Mario fly in any direction he needs for momentarily. Though it doesn't go as high upwards compared to the Spring Jump, it gives Paper Mario the most maneuverability, but at the cost of giving no actual damage, and Parakarry can only hold you for so long. Once when he let goes, Paper Mario will go straight into free fall. And lastly, the down specials. For Paper Mario's down special, it's the Spin Jump. When you have the jump command active, if on the ground, Paper Mario will do a jump arc similar to his standard special, and then he'll do a spin slam on the ground, similar to Bowser's down special, except with more horizontal maneuverability. If in the air, he'll just go straight downwards. The down special for the hammer is the Quake Hammer. Paper Mario do a small jump, and then slam his hammer into the ground, causing a small shockwave. If Paper Mario is in the air when he does this, he'll go straight down with his hammer. And lastly, for the partner down special, it's the Bob-omb Bomb, where Paper Mario will actually pick up his Bob-omb partner and then throw them. They'll walk for a little bit, and after a little while, they'll set themselves off. Unless you press down B again, and then they'll auto-detonate themselves. Also, remember when I mentioned about there being an extra taunt? In Paper Mario special attacks actually have a stylish taunt that you can activate by pressing any of the taunt buttons. Does it have any useful attributes if you press the button at the right time? No, not really. It's more for showboating. And lastly, it's Paper Mario's Final Smash. And of all the powerful moves in Paper Mario's plethora of paper mache, I decided to use a pair of scissors, or what I like to call all-out cutout. How this Final Smash works? Paper Mario will summon a pair of scissors that'll slash forward. If any opponents happen to be caught by the scissors, they'll be put in a cinematic, where they'll slam into a piece of paper and will turn into stickers. Next thing you know, a bunch of scissors start slashing the piece of paper around, and after one final snip, causes the paper to burst into confetti, along with your opponents, causing good damage and sending your opponents flying. And of course, at 100 damage, they'll be instantly KO'd. And with that, we have set for Smash, Paper Mario. Honestly, I'm genuinely surprised Paper Mario has yet to join the roster. I mean, we already have 3 different variants of Link in Smash Bros., yet only 2 variants of Nintendo's major all-star. I don't know, that just never felt right to me. But considering where Paper Mario was heading in the modern games as of late, it would have been hard to tell what his moveset would have been based on. Whether he'd be a semi-clone of regular Mario, or they would use a lot of the moves from Color Splash and Sticker Star as those were the most recent developments, removing partners altogether. But considering that Paper Mario is entering this brand new renaissance with what I've gathered Origami King being decent, and the return of the 1000 Year Door in an HD remake, maybe Paper Mario has a better chance of joining the battle more than we think nowadays. But other than that, thanks for watching. If you want to support the channel, make sure to like and share the video, and don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. And if you want your name credit at the end of this video, you can always support the channel by either being a YouTube member, being a Twitch sub, or sending a donation to my coffee. And I hope we are ready to see the rest of the moveset concepts that the fans have decided. But until then, this is AngelStar signing out from Star Jettison, and I hope to see you in the next moveset concept. Hello and welcome to Set for Smash Moveset Concept, where we analyze video game characters and see how they play in Super Smash Bros. And today's moveset is our 4th place winner of our Fighter Pass fan poll. The one, the only Lord of Darkness, Hades. Now you might be familiar with Hades in Greek mythology, son of the Titan Kronos and brother to Zeus and Poseidon. However, this variant of Hades comes from the world of Kid Icarus, more specifically Kid Icarus Uprising on the 3DS, made possible by the Smash creator himself, Masahiro Sakurai. Just like in the Greek mythos, Hades is the lord of the underworld, and a bit of a mischievous troublemaker who wants nothing more than pure chaos and bloodshed. As the more souls that reach the underworld, the more powerful he becomes. Though Medusa was originally the major antagonist of Kid Icarus, Hades basically claimed the title of major antagonist from Medusa, and understandably wise, he's actually very menacing and sometimes surprisingly funny. Though he was defeated at the end of Uprising, sorry for the spoilers, there is a secret dialogue where he states that he will return someday. But could that resurrection happen now if he joins Super Smash Bros? Let's find out. Starting off with the details, the series symbol is the bow and arrow of the Kid Icarus series. As much as I'd love to use the symbol for the underworld, it makes more sense to use the bow and arrow as that was the original series symbol of the Kid Icarus franchise. So I'll let you guys decide in the comments whether or not he should have his own series symbol, or that he should keep the symbol that the other Kid Icarus reps also have. Height-wise, Hades would be pretty stoic and on par with height with Ganondorf. Though he wouldn't be as wide as him, he would still have a menacing malice, and occasionally times would levitate his feet off the ground. Even though Hades has been resurrected, he is unfortunately not at full power, and that definitely shows in his stats. Though his weight has been averaged out, his speed is below average, thanks to the fact that when he runs he can levitate, but his attack is one of the weakest in Smash Bros, and there will be an explanation for that when I get to it. Though his defense has also been averaged out, as he wants to probably do everything in his power to properly protect his body, but where he keeps most of his power is with his knockback ability, meaning a lot of his physical base attacks will send his opponents flying, though he's not really a great damage dealer. He also has 2 weak jumps and no other movement options. When he enters from stage, you can see him appear from dark hellfire. After all, he is the lord of the underworld, so it makes sense that he would reappear through flames of darkness. For his taunts, his first one shows that he's actually incredibly bored, the same gesture that you see in one of his images in Kid Icarus Uprising. His second taunt will have him floating in the air, looking like he's kinda goofing off. For someone who's been long gone for almost 10 years, it's generally surprising how laid back he is. And for his third taunt, he unleashes a menacing aura around his body, showing you probably should be messing with the literal god of death, especially in a platform fighter. Moving on to the color palettes, obviously his first one is his default design, though his second color palette will darken some of his color palettes, but definitely gray them out a little more, referencing his subordinate Medusa. Color palette 3 will give him a more lighter green skin tone, in reference to the actual second command of the underworld, Thanatos. Color palette 4 is a dark blue, referencing another Kid Icarus enemy, Pandora. Color palette 5 is an uprising color palette, making him bright red, referencing the sun god Pyron. Color palette 6 gives Hades a more light blue design, referencing Poseidon, the god of the sea. Though he only appears in one chapter, if you read your Greek mythology, Poseidon is still Hades' brother. So it makes sense that for his 7th color palette, I'd make him bright yellow, referencing the color of lightning. More specifically, the god of Olympus himself, Zeus. Though he doesn't appear in Kid Icarus whatsoever, that or Palutena takes over the place of Zeus in this canon, I think it would make more sense to give Hades a color palette representing the one brother he dislikes the least. And for his 8th color palette, it'll be his final boss variant, with a brand new set of legs and of course his blue Hellfire head. And lastly, for the victory animations, just like with the Paper Mario victory animation, if Hades wins a match, Hades' claws will appear in the front of the screen and slash it through it, revealing Hades with a Hellfire backdrop, similar to Sephiroth's victory animation. For his second victory animation, He crosses his arms and then looks at the camera with a menacing face, knowing that he has more souls to feed his underworld army. And for his final victory animation, though he's happy to join the battle, he unfortunately has to bid his opponents adieu. And for Hades' victory theme, it makes sense that it's, well, Hades' theme from Kid Icarus Uprising. Moving on to Hades' standard attacks. Starting with his jab, he'll raise his palm forward and a small burst of energy will appear. Similar to the starting animation of Mewtwo's jab, except there won't be any combo damage, it's the one singular attack. For his dash attack, he brings both hands together and then he claps them forward, a move with great knockback and great for KOing at high damage. When we get to his tilts, his side tilt, he would do a downward crescent slash forward. For his up tilt, Hades will do a powerful uppercut, and for his down tilt, Hades will cause dark hellfire to rise in front of him. While for his smash attacks, his side smash is similar to Bayonetta's. The animation does have slow startup, but getting caught will of course send any opponents who get near it flying. For his up smash, he makes a blood-curdling cry above himself. Anyone who gets caught will be temporarily paralyzed and then sent flying. If at a high enough damage, Hades can actually go for the kill. And for his down smash, he slams a single hand to the ground, causing a massive shockwave. Though the ending animation is slow because, well, drat, his arm got stuck. Next are his aerials, with his standard aerial having him expand dark energy around him. His forward aerial will have him launch a dark laser arrow in a zigzag animation, but in truth it's actually just going forward. His back aerial, Hades' face will actually appear behind him and shoot a ball of energy. His up aerial has two small energy projectiles coming straight out of his eyes upward. And for his down aerial, he'll do a drop kick in a 45-degree angle. When he impacts the floor, it'll actually have a higher hitbox, but if an opponent gets hit by his foot, they will be spiked. Hades can even bounce off his enemies, if properly positioned. For his grabs, he'll grab his opponents using the black hole in the palm of his hand. If you hold the button, he can actually suck foes closer to him until he grabs them. When he pummels a foe, his chest will actually summon out a giant drill, and instead of just pressing the A button to pummel, if you hold the A button, you'll actually do better damage. For his forward throw, Hades will punch his opponents right in the stomach, sending them flying forward. For his back throw, he throws his opponents behind him like they're pieces of trash. Not the highest knockback of his abilities, but it does give you enough space and range to plan your next move. His up throw, he throws his opponents upward, and then he'll shoot beams of energy out of his hands above himself. Any opponents who get near will also get caught in the crossfire. And for his down throw, he'll hold the opponent with his single hand and then slam him straight into the ground, and will even have the potential to bury his opponents. Now we're to Hades' special attacks. Though Hades doesn't really have a lot of moves I could really think of that really feel like Hades, I decided to go more with moves that are inspired by what he does, as well as emphasize his tricky nature. So starting off with his standard special, it's called Trick Shot. Hades will shoot two different types of projectiles out of his hands, but he'll only shoot them one at a time. And depending on which one goes out, his right hand will actually fire a giant projectile, which if untouched for a long period, will actually move faster and get smaller. Not only can you counter these projectiles real easily, but you can even destroy them with a perfectly timed attack. But it's the ones from his left hand you have to worry about, as he'll fire two small little projectiles that show Hades is quite the trickster, as these projectiles are uncounterable. What do I mean? Well, basically, this is a literal counter for a counter. Just like in Kid Icarus Uprising, if you try to destroy this projectile in any way, it'll actually lock onto you and you instantly take damage. It'll ricochet for a little bit, but then come right back at you if you try to counter it. And considering when you tap the B button to release different projectiles, you have to be very careful when he tries to fire both at the same time. The Kirby hat will be Hades' hair as well as his makeup. For Hades' side special, it's called Back into the Shadows. It works similarly to Greninja's Shadow Sneak or Fox's Illusion attack, as when you press side B, Hades will disappear into darkness and reappear depending if you choose left or right. However, depending on what direction you press, you can actually strike back real quickly. So for example, if you use the side special and then side A, you'll do your side tilt. If you do it in the air, he'll use an aerial attack. And if you press down, he'll attack from below. But if you hit the opposite direction after using it, Hades will actually return to where he was and cause a small explosion where he was originally going to be. But be warned, you should never use this move in the air. Hades will go into freefall. For Hades' up special, I call it Inferno Uprising. Hades will cloak himself in dark fire and then spiral upward like a dark tornado. It's a combination of when Hades was trying to escape from Pit in the final battle, combined with a shadow tornado in one of his battle phases. It does go a good amount of range, but Hades will go into freefall right after. And lastly is Hades' down special, and one of his most important moves. In case you forgot, Hades actually has the weakest attack, but some really high knockback, meaning his physical moves are the best when it comes to KO potential, but he has a hard time building up that with his attack. And it doesn't help that I actually gave him a lot of projectile-based moves. But that's where his down special, Battle Ensemble, comes into effect. By pressing down B, Hades will cover himself in demonic roses. What does this do? Well, simple. It gives Hades' attacks more extra projectile power, meaning all attacks that use a projectile in some way or form will be upgraded from 1 projectile to 3 projectiles. Though considering they are the weakest of attacks, with some of the weakest projectiles doing only 1% damage, and the only highest amount dealing is his standard special and his back air, doing 7% damage, this will give Hades an additional 3% damage per projectile that successfully hits an opponent. Yeah, we just made him a little more terrifying. But note, it does have a time limit. Hades does not start off with this ensemble ready, and takes roughly like 10 seconds for it to take effect, as you'll notice a meter within Hades' icon. When it's fully charged, you can activate the Battle Ensemble. However, the more projectile-based moves you use, the more likely it is to drain, and you can even destroy the flowers by, of course, attacking Hades. 3 powerful hits will be strong enough to destroy the flowers, and Hades will have to wait a while before he can recharge again to use his Battle Ensemble. And lastly, it's Hades' final smash, which I call Hades' Last Stand. When Hades activates his final smash, he'll slash a dark, shadowy portal open, and anyone who gets caught in it will be sent into a cinematic. Hades will take on his gigantic form, and then charge up a massive laser, and when he fires, not only will he shoot his opponents, he'll straight up vaporize them, similar to King K. Rool's final smash. Though we don't get to see him fire his laser in the game, trust me, I've tried, but I'm pretty sure that's what that beam of energy would do. And with that, we have set for Smash, Hades. With this moveset concept, I wanted to make Hades a devious, no-good, flat-out cheater of a troublemaker when he joins the roster, because that's who Hades is. Hades' inclusion in Smash Bros. Mostly depends on whoever's in charge of the next game. Even if it was Sakurai, who's to say he wouldn't add the Lord of the Underworld to join the roster? Though he'd have to also fight out for a spot for other fan-favorite characters from Uprising, including Magnus, Viridi, and even Medusa. But considering neither Kid Icarus nor himself have returned, let's hope we don't have to wait another 25 years for the next installment of the Kid Icarus series. Thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, be sure to like and share the video, and don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. If you also want to help out with the channel even more, you can become a channel member, a Twitch sub, or send a donation to my Ko-fi. Support like this helps video production go faster. 2 fan characters down, only 3 more to go. So let's see who makes the number 3 spot in our next moveset concept. Hello and welcome to Set for Smash Moveset Concept, where we look at the world of video game characters and see how they would play in the world of Super Smash Bros. We're at the halfway part of our Fighter Pass fan pool, meaning this is the top 3. And who do we have in 3rd place, chosen by the fans? Why, it's none other than Sonic's best friend, Tails. Or as you might know him as Miles Prower, a young fox genius who was once bullied for being born with 2 tails, hence his nickname. But being inspired by Sonic's courage, and later becoming his lifelong best friend, Tails has proven time and time again he's shown to not only have the brains of Eggman, Sonic's speed, and can even fly with his own butt, proven to be one of the most iconic sidekicks in video games. So you think it's about time that this fox boy finally joined the battle? Well, let's find out. Beginning with the details, the series symbol is of course the Sonic symbol, though I would personally like it if they actually adjusted it to be the symbol to Sonic Team. I don't know why, they have yet to do that though. Height-wise, he's on par with Sonic, but that's mostly due to the fact that his ears make him look taller. Stat-wise, aren't really the greatest in some parts, being below average in both weight, defense, and knockback, and his attack being pretty weak, but his more stronger attributes are his speed, where he's pretty fast, and his jumping ability, which is high. Obviously, it's not the highest, though of course not at supersonic speeds, falling slightly behind. he's still pretty fast to be on par with any other speedsters in the lightweight fast class department. When he enters a stage, he crash lands from the tornado, as Tails been known to crash that plane a whole lot. For his first taunt, it's his original victory pose from Sonic 3. He still makes this stance every so often in other games. For his second taunt, he lets out his wrench, showing that he's ready to tinker on some new gadgets. And for his third taunt, he hovers above the ground for a little bit and then comes back down, showing off Tails' aerial mobility. With his color palettes, his default design makes him his bright yellow look, more based on his more modern design. And for the rest of the color palettes, I decided to base more on other types of foxes, as basing on other Sonic characters and or the Chaos Emeralds honestly felt like a little bit of a cop-out personally. Whatever your thoughts are, leave them in the comments below. So obviously for his second color palette, I made him a darker orange based off his original look from the old promo arts of Sonic 2. Color palette 3 gives him a more brown color attire, based off brown foxes. And yes, you can also make this a reference to the original cartoon variant of Tails. Color palette 4 gives him a gray color palette, giving him the color of gray foxes. Color palette 5 makes him lightly red, based off red foxes. Color palette 6 makes him a white fox, and color palette 7 makes him a black fox. And for the 8th color palette is a very interesting fox type because not many people know about this one, and finding out about it generally made me surprised. Giving him a light pink fur design, which you could say is a reference to Amy, but it's actually more based off something called a pink champagne fox. I still don't know if that's a real thing, but it's a cool color palette, so I'm keeping it. And wrapping up the details with victory animations, his first victory animation is the one based off Sonic Mania. His second victory animation has him tinkering around with his Electails, the device you might recognize from Sonic Colors or even other Sonic games. And for his final victory animation, he perfectly lands a tornado into the victory stage and pops out showing off his air skills. And the victory theme is the Sonic series victory theme, though I wish they would change it from the 06 version. Moving on to the standard attacks. His jab is a 1-2 punch, and then he does a barrage of punches, like he's flailing around, while his dash attack has him shoving the opponent, both moves inspired by Sonic Fighters. His side tilt is a double hand slap, while his up tilt is an uppercut, and for his down tilt, it's a tail swipe, where he swipes with both tails. His smash attacks, however, are from Sonic Battle, with his side smash being the energy ball, where if you charge it, he'll shoot a ball of energy. Depending on how long you charge it, the farther it goes. Since it's a projectile, it can be reflected. His up smash is the magic upper, where he summons an extendable boxing glove that hits above in front of him, though behind him he's still defenseless. And for his down smash, he uses the magic hook, where he spins the magic glove around himself. For his aerials, his standard aerial is similar to Sonic's, where he spins into a ball. His forward aerial does a move called Typhoon, where he smacks his tails forward. His back aerial is a back kick. His up aerial is an upward variant of Sonic's side aerial, and is a great knockback move. And for his down aerial, he'll do the move Tails Dunk, where he'll smack his tails under him, and even has a good chance of spiking his opponents. And finally, for his grabbing animations, he does a one-handed grab and hits his opponents with a wrench. For his forward throw, Tails throws his opponents while in the air, turning them into a giant projectile. Though originating from Sonic the Fighters, this move is more based off Sonic Heroes. His back throw, he kicks the opponents behind him and springs forward, keeping some distance from his opponents. His up throw is the spring parry, and for the down throw, it's the aerial version of the energy ball. Moving on to the special attacks. Though the snare attacks definitely had him using a lot of tech, I decided to base more of what Tails as a character is in his special attacks. Starting with the standard special is a signature move from Sonic Adventure, the Spin Cyclone. By pressing and hold the B button, Tails will spin himself into a tornado, allowing him to move freely left or right for a limited time. Similar to Meta Knight's standard special, except the more longer you charge it, the farther you can go. The Kirby hat will give him Tails' ears, hair, of course, his two tails. For the side special, it's going to be a controversial one. I decided to go with the Ring Bomb. Now, what's the Ring Bomb, you're probably asking? Well, it originated both in Sonic Heroes and, unfortunately, Sonic 06, where Tails will throw a capsule item that'll explode fake rings. But it'll work differently in Smash Bros. Than it does there, as it's just called the Ring Bomb, meaning there actually are real rings sometimes. When Tails throws it, it'll be in an arc, and if it makes contact with an opponent or ground, rings will explode out of it, with a minimum of being 1, 3, 5, and at maximum 10. Though note, if it's around 5 or 10, half of those rings will automatically disappear when they explode. But when the capsule explodes and some rings are left on the stage, some opponents can pick them up and heal 1% of damage, giving you a little more protective power similar to how they work in the Sonic games. though the fake rings you can actually use as items, similar to Diddy Kong's banana peel, meaning Tails or any of his opponents can actually pick up the fake ring and throw it back as an item. It's also a fun little homage to Tails Sky Patrol. For Tails Up Special, honestly it's a no-brainer, it's the Heli Tails, where Tails will actually propel himself upward with his two tails. The Up Special works similarly to King K. Rool's Up Special. Making Tails' strongest attribute is his great recovery. Though Tails won't stay up in the air forever, he'll eventually tire himself out and then go into freefall. And finally for his Down Special. And since it's a Sonic character, it makes sense that it's the Spin Dash. Though this is an iconic move from Sonic, Tails was the one who created the move, so I think it makes sense that he'd also get this move as well. By pressing down B, Tails will be able to charge up the Spin Dash. Though Sonic's will actually have him charge through enemies, Tails will slowly chip away at anyone's damage, making him sort of like a buzzsaw. But what happens if you do this up special in the air? Well, Tails will actually do a Spin Dash hop. Not to get it confused with Sonic's Spin Drop, Tails will actually go into the spinning animation and then do a small jump, giving Tails a little more one-up when it comes to mobility. You can even activate this move while in your up special, but you can't do anything once when you get out of it. With Tails' special attacks, I decided to give him tons of mobility options. If you need to get back on the stage, you can either use the Ring Bomb to push away enemies, or use the Spin Dash in the air to jump back on or jump around your opponents. If you're too far away from the stage and need a way to recover, the Spin Cyclone and the Heli Tails combined with the Spin Dash can give you more mobility. This is why I also gave him better speed and jumping ability. He might not be strong to some people, but if you think like Tails, you might be able to master him. After all, Tails is a smart character, so it makes sense that you have to think smart to play as him. And lastly, for Tails' final smash, well, no-brainer, it's the Tornado. He flies into the background, a reticle will appear, and if anyone gets close to the reticle before he launches, the Tornado will make an impact on the stage, taking down anyone who gets near him, working similarly to Pit's Lightning Chariot Final Smash. And with that, we have set for Smash Miles Tails Prower, an iconic character from the Sonic series that, honestly, I'm still surprised has not yet joined the battle. Of all the characters from the Sonic series, Tails is still an iconic video game character for multiple reasons. A loyal best friend, a hardworking genius, and the one person Sonic trusts with his life. Tails is even on par with video game sidekicks like Luigi and Diddy Kong. In all honesty, I can't think of any other Sonic character more deserving to join Super Smash Bros. Than Miles Tails Prower. Thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. And if you want to support the channel and get your name at the end of the credits, you can always become a channel member, be a Twitch sub, or even send a donation to my coffee. We're past the halfway point of this Moveset concept season, so it's down to the final two. But you'll have to wait until the next Moveset concept. Hello and welcome to Set for Smash Moveset Concept, where we analyze the world of video game characters and see how they would play in the world of Super Smash Bros. Fighter Pass Season 4 has been going strong, and at long last we're down to our final two choices. And for our second place winner of your choice, it's none other than the half-genie hero, Shantae. For those who don't know, Shantae is one of the earliest indie-developed games made possible by WayForward, first debuting on the Game Boy Color. Though it did come late, right around the time when the Game Boy Advance was unleashing, the original Shantae is considered a hidden gem. But with WayForward's determination, Shantae over time has become a household name and even the official mascot of the WayForward company, who've collaborated and made some pretty good video game projects, even doing a remake of a Nintendo IP. But who is Shantae? Well, Shantae is a half-genie and the protector of Scuttletown, which is usually under attack by the evil Captain Risky Boots. And many a time she'd had to always have to prove herself and the mayor that she is truly one of the greatest protectors of their town. But does she have what it takes to protect herself and her friends in the world of Smash Bros? Let's find out. Beginning with the details, Shantae's series symbol was actually a difficult choice for me to choose from, but I decided to go with the squid hearts that you would find as the rare collectible item. Though the genie lamp would make more sense considering, she's half genie, I decided to go with the squids, are usually the major collectible of the series, plus it's a fun little Easter egg joke on a reoccurring Shantae character. Height-wise, Shantae is roughly platformer size, being taller than Mario. Shantae really does have a lot to prove though, and that definitely shows within her stats. who kind of has a very interesting balance with average speed, knockback, and jumping ability, but below average weight, attack, and defense. Shantae is also capable of crawling. When Shantae enters from a stage, she'll actually fly down on a giant bird that belongs to her best friend Sky. As we get to her taunts, all three of them are three different types of belly dances. These taunts work similarly to Bayonetta's, as you can actually have them stuck on a loop unless you either attack or move. Moving on to her color palettes, her default design is her purple hair with her red attire. Color palette 2 makes everything, including her skin tone, purple, referencing the major antagonist of the series, Risky Boots. Color palette 3 actually gives her an all-green attire, not only referencing her best friend who's a zombie named Roddy Tops, but also referencing the zombie clan of people found in the Shantae series. Color palette 4 gives her a light blue design with yellow hair, referencing Shantae's best friend, Sky. Color palette 5 gives Shantae blue attire with blue hair. The blue attire is actually based off a second color you get in Half Genie Hero collection, which was actually the original color they were going to go for with Shantae, while the blue hair is actually more of a reference to her other friend, Bolo. Color palette 6 gives Shantae white hair but with green attire, referencing Shantae's Uncle Mimic. Color palette 7 gives Shantae red hair with a dark red attire. Now that may be a little too much red, but this is actually more of a reference to another Shantae character, the Squid Baron. The character I was also referencing in the series symbol, as Squid Baron is one of the most reoccurring characters in the series, and is usually one of the biggest joke characters which in all honesty, you gotta love for his determination. And for Shantae's final color palette, it's the Nega Shantae variant, found in Half Genie Hero. And wrapping up the details with her victory animations, her first will actually do her iconic pose from her original promo art, where she actually makes fire appear from her fingertip. Victory animation number 2 is actually based off the level complete from Shantae Half Genie Hero, and victory animation number 3, she dances, because it wouldn't be a Shantae victory if she ain't dancing. As for the victory theme, I decided to go with the Item Up Team theme, as it's the most recurring music in the Shantae series. Moving on to Shantae's standard attacks. Starting with her jab, it's her iconic hair whip, though it actually works very differently. If you just tap the A button slowly, she'll only do a one hair whip one at a time. But if you try to rapidly shoot it, she'll do one hair jab and then she'll flip her hair in a fast barrage of attacks, doing small combo damage, until she wraps it with one more big hair whip. Her dash attack is the bracelet item, which gives her a shoulder tackle. As with her tilts, her side tilt will be a downward hair whip, where she'll whip her hair forward, yet in a downward angle. Her up tilt will be the animation similar to her item obtain, and a random item from the Shantae series will appear. Usually either key items that you usually find, or even the fun little pet zombie hamster from Half Genie Hero. For Shantae's down tilt, it's her crouching hair whip animation. You can even attack while you're crawling. For her smash attacks, her side variant, she'll whip her hair much farther than it usually goes, similar to the Belmont side smash. For up smash, she'll do an upward spin kick, referencing another collectible item from the original Shantae game. For her down smash, she'll swing her hair around herself in a whipping slash kind of animation. As for her aerials, her standard aerial is her hair whip yet again. Her forward aerial will be a kick animation similar to her talons, found in her harpy transformation. Her back air is a back kick. Her up air is the tiara twirl, where she spins her hair in a cyclone. This does combo damage. And her down air is a drill kick, working similarly to Samus's original down aerial. This doesn't spike, but it is great for combo moves. As for Shantae's grabbing animations, she grabs opponents with her hair and pummels by squeezing her hair tighter. Her forward throw is a forward kick forward. Her back throw, she swings her foe overhead using her hair. Her up throw, she swings the foe upward with her hair. And for the down throw, she'll stomp on them using a foot stomp. Now we're on to the special attacks. With her special attacks, I decided to make her go full genie mode with these attacks, starting with magic as her standard special. How does magic work? She'll have 3 different types of magic spells, which has different types of activations. But just like in the Shantae games, if you hold the B button and press L or R, you can actually switch between the different types of spells. So let's start off with her first spell, Fireball. By pressing the B button, Shantae will shoot Fireball out of her fingers. But if you hold the B button while this spell is active, Shantae will fire 3 separate fireballs that go in 3 different directions. Just know if you switch to a different spell, you'll automatically deactivate it. Her second spell works very differently from her original, which is Pike Ball. By pressing the B button, a pike ball will spin around Shantae. Anyone who gets near it will take small damage. It can also be used to temporarily protect yourself from projectiles. If you press the B button, it'll stay active, but if you press it again, you'll automatically deactivate it. And for the third variant, it's Storm Puff. When you press the B button, Shantae will summon a Storm Puff that will shoot lightning above himself. If you're pressing hold the B button and then you press a direction, you can actually throw the Storm Puff in different directions, meaning you can make it go upward or more vertical or horizontal movement, allowing the Thunderbolt to shoot under him to be more vicious. But just like with the Pike Ball, the Storm Puff will stay in battlefield unless you press the B button again. Just know you do have a magic meter for Shantae, so she can't just spam these moves all willy-nilly, as Storm Puff and Pike Ball can only last for around 5 to 10 seconds, and Fireball can be used up to 3 times at max power. These moves will fill up on their own over time. The Kirby hat is Shantae's hair. For Shantae's side special, it's her first transformation and one of her most iconic, the Monkey transformation. When activated, Shantae will actually go into monkey form and do a small dash. You can charge it and it'll go farther. The Monkey transformation can do the following. If near a wall or an edge, it'll automatically climb into the edge, and you're capable of climbing up and down walls. If the Monkey transformation catches a human, it works similarly to Diddy Kong's side special, where it's basically a command grab, and then Shantae will be capable of attacking the opponent attached to them. For Shantae's up special, it's the Harpy transformation. Though Shantae isn't really great when it comes to maneuverability, especially in her moveset, the Harpy transformation and works similarly to Villager's up special, where Shantae will temporarily transform into a Harpy and have tons of free aerial mobility. However, it only lasts a short time, and once when the transformation runs out, Shantae will go into free fall. And finally, for Shantae's down special, it's the Elephant transformation. Depending on where you are on the stage, the Elephant transformation will do the following. On the ground, Shantae will turn to an elephant and then do an automatic dash. It's far more powerful than the Monkey Dash, but doesn't go as far, and it gives Shantae temporary super armor, so she's basically immune to attacks in this transformation. However, if you're in the air, Shantae will slam downward with the Elephant transformation, doing the Elephant Stomp. If you can time the landing perfectly, Shantae will even bury her foes if right on top of them. Shantae has quite a lot in her arsenal because a lot of the moves actually are very consistent within each of her titles, with some exceptions. But no matter what, Shantae has a moveset that shows her determination and will to never give up, as she dances through danger. For Shantae's final smash, I call it the Power of the Genies. Shantae will bring out her ancient lamp, and you'll see the power of the genies course through it. Shantae will actually point it forward and shoot a massive beam of energy, showing a full-fledged spectacle that is the half-genie hero. And with that, we have set for Smash, Shantae. Shantae's legacy is nothing to laugh at. When it comes to the Shantae series, surprisingly enough, she's kind of made a home for herself on Nintendo. With her debut title being on the Game Boy Color, her second series being a DSi exclusive for her time, heck, Shantae has even made appearances in Smash Bros. Ultimate. Both her and Risky are spirits in Ultimate, not to mention a costume and the song from Half Genie Hero is in Smash itself, going to show that Shantae has a legacy, meaning her chances of joining Smash Bros. Might come sooner than you think. Though Sakurai has stated that Smash is for good boys and girls, I still believe it's possible that Shantae has what it takes to join Smash Bros. In the near future. Thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, don't forget to like and share the video, as well as subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. And if you want to support quicker production of the channel, you can also become a channel member, a Twitch sub, or even send a donation to my coffee for a name added to the credits. Set for Smash, Fighter Pass number 6 is nearly over, so that means our number 1 choice is coming soon. But until then, you'll have to tune in to the next Moveset Concept. And with that, we have set for Smash, Miles Tails Prower. An iconic character from the Sonic series. In all honesty, I can't think of any other Sonic character more deserving to join Super Smash Bros. Than Miles Tails Prower.
Let me show you who I really am. Get a load of this!
Hello and welcome to Set for Smash Moveset Concept, where we look at the legacy of video game characters and see how they would play in Super Smash Bros. And at long last, we're at our number 1 choice of the Set for Smash fan poll. And as you can probably take a guess, our lucky winner and your number 1 choice was none other than Dr. Eggman. Or you might know him as Dr. Ivo Robotnik, a mad scientist from the Sonic series, who's on a mission to take over the world using his high IQ and a massive army of machines. He would later be known as Dr. Eggman. a nickname given to him by his arch nemesis, Sonic the Hedgehog, and has been around in the Sonic series since the very beginning. Eggman has tried many times to take over the world, and at a few moments has succeeded, but Sonic has defeated him time and time again, either because he was outwitted by Sonic's speed, or by his own ego. But can Dr. Eggman really prove his evil genius and take on the world of Smash Brothers? Let's find out. Beginning with the details, the series symbol would be the Sonic series symbol, but knowing Eggman, he'd want nothing to do with Sonic, and would do everything in his power to make sure his own series symbol was the Eggman insignia. I'll leave it to you guys to vote in the comments what you think would make the most sense. But now the real question, how would Eggman battle in Smash Brothers? I've seen movesets in the past where he uses his Egg Flyer, or even use the Egg Mech from Sonic Adventure 2. But I've decided to go a different route this time around. I decided to go with an amalgamation of a brand new style Egg Mech, combining his flying Eggmobile, the mechanized feet of the Death Egg robot, and the giant grappling arms from the boss fight of Sonic 3. But the mech will have different shapes and forms depending on what situation it calls for, turning into actual original pieces of Egg Mech that he used in the past. But how would it look in Smash Brothers? He's definitely on the bigger side of the roster, being just as big as Bowser. As for his stats, I decided to actually max out his weight, as come on, it's a giant mechanical robot. That thing is going to be very heavy. And considering he's a giant mech, it also hits like one too, with above average knockback and defense, and average attack power. And his weakest stats actually mirror Sonic's, as he has weak jumping ability and speed. However, there's also a couple of extra things that the Egg Mech will have, one of which is the ability to hover, as well as durability. Though Eggman does have above average defense and knockback ability, you can still damage Eggman's mech, more specifically in the arms and legs. The only part where he definitely gets the most damage is his major weak spot, which is his head, just like in the original Sonic games. So hitting there is your top priority when it comes to doing the most damage to him, but if you do attack the Egg Mech, it will have a little bit of super armor, so he will be able to still do his attacks, as just like with Karul's belly, if you damage the arms and legs, Eggman's mech will actually get damaged. It doesn't destroy Eggman's mech, but it does damage it to the point where his knockback ability will lose some power as well as his defense, turning his Mean Bean machine into literal scrap metal. When entering the stage, he will fly down and his weaponized parts will attach into the Eggmobile. For taunts, his first will have him doing his iconic evil laugh, because what's a good evil scientist without a good evil laugh? Taunt number 2 has him raising his fist, probably getting mad at the other opponents taunting back at him. And for his third taunt, he actually makes the robot flex. As we move on to his color palettes, just note we're only using Eggman's design so far, but know that the color of Eggman's mech will change also to the color depending on which color palette you choose. Of course, with the default design being his iconic red suit. Color palette 2 will give him a lighter blue, referencing of course his rival Sonic, but also more referencing his greatest creation to rival Sonic, Metal Sonic. Color palette 3 gives Eggman's outfit and mech a yellow attire, referencing Cubot. I would also make a color palette for Orbot, but Eggman's already red. Color palette 4 gives Eggman a gray attire, while also giving his mech a gray color palette. Obviously a more industrial look, but also reference to his mighty flying ship, the Death Egg. Color palette 5 gives Eggman an orange attire with orange mech, a reference to the iconic Eggman henchman, the Egg Pawn. Color palette 6 gives Eggman a black attire. This is a reference to the most recent addition to the Eggman Empire, his daughter, Sage. Color palette 7 gives him a white attire with a white mech, reference to his grandfather, Dr. Gerald Robotnik. And finally, for his final color palette, it'll be another character entirely known as Eggman Nega, who is either a alternate universe Eggman or a relative of his from the far future. And finally, for his victory animations, Eggman gets out of his mechs and does a victory dance. Cause surprisingly, the Mad Doctor's got moves. Victory animation number 2, he takes a bow, while you get a zoom in on him, giving an evil smirk, as he truly believes he is superior to his opponents. And finally, for his final victory animation, Dr. Eggman makes a maniacal laugh and then throws the Chaos Emeralds into the air, juggling them. A reference to when you don't collect every single Chaos Emerald in the game, aka the Try Again animation. As for his victory theme, obviously considering it's Eggman, it's his iconic theme song from Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, Eggman, aka Eggman. Now let's move on to Eggman's standard attacks, where he'll control his mech either to attack with the mech itself, or even transform into a specific Eggman machine from the history of the Sonic series. Starting with his jab, it'll be a punch-punch uppercut with the giant robot arms. Yeah, it could be a reference to Sonic the Fighters, but also it's a giant robot mech. You gotta punch with it. As we get to his dash attack, I should let you know when he's dashing on the ground, the mech will actually turn into a car, and if you use his dash attack, it'll become the egg drill, and a giant drill will drill forward, running over and drilling his opponents. As for his tilts, his side tilt will have the robot kick forward with great knockback ability. His up tilt will actually have the arm transform into a cannon and shoot ice ball in an upward arc, referencing the Egg Dragoon. As for the down tilt, we'll actually have it shoot a fireball, reference to his first boss fight in Sonic 3. For his smash attacks, his forward smash is the Egg Hammer, where the mech's arm will transform into a mallet and slam forward. For his up smash, he'll fire 2 rockets above himself. Depending on how long the charge, at max he can shoot up to 6 rockets at a time. These are projectiles so they can be deflected. And for his down smash, the arms will actually do a 360 spin, based off his recent egg mech from Sonic Superstars. As we move on to his aerials, his standard aerial will have the egg mech turn into the egg catcher, where he'll shoot a burst of lightning under his mech, causing electrical damage, similar to Pikachu's standard aerial. The forward aerial is the egg wrecker, where one of the arms will actually turn into a giant ball mallet, a reference to the egg mech first boss of Sonic the Hedgehog. For his back aerial, Eggman will actually turn around and shoot a blaster behind his mech, showing that Eggman doesn't mind getting his hands a little dirty. His up aerial is the Egg Drill Mark II, where the mech arms will actually turn into drills and drill above himself. Though there is a small little spot where you can actually attack Eggman, just be careful of the drills. And for his down aerial, Eggman will shoot a spike ball under his mech. For Eggman's grabs, he'll do a two-handed grab that has far long distance grip, referencing the Sonic 3 boss fight. When he pummels a foe, he tightens the grip of the mech. For his forward throw, he'll actually shoot him with a massive laser from the chest, while his back throw, Egg Robot will actually do a suplex. Eggman's up throw will have the mech throw the opponents upward, and Eggman will shoot them down with his blaster. And for his down throw, command the mech to jump up in the air and then slam his foes into the ground. Another reference to Sonic 3's boss battle. And now we get to Eggman's special attacks. So what is Eggman's standard special? Considering I decided to make it based more off the Death Egg robot, I think it makes sense. I call it the Arm Launcher. This works similar to the Death Egg robot from Sonic Mega and Generations, and ironically enough, Sonic's standard special. Eggman will actually lock on to the nearest opponent for a limited amount of time, and either by holding the B button to its max power, or by letting go prematurely, the arm will launch towards the enemy at full velocity. If it impacts a foe, it will do high damage and knockback. Though this is not a projectile, you can still counter it and attack the Egg Mech. Eggman will get a little bit of chip damage, but it's still basically a super armor move, hence why I gave Eggman that character trait. The Kirby hat is Eggman's goggles and his mustache. Eggman's side special is the Egg Grappler. Referencing another heavyweight villain character, Bowser, this is a command grab. Eggman will dash forward, and if he catches anyone in his grip, will do a command grab. While in this state, Eggman will also have super armor, unless the mech has dealt too much damage. Eggman's up special are engines at full power. Eggman will actually fire the thrusters on the back of his mech as well as in the feet, giving Eggman full 360 mobility in any direction of his choosing for a limited amount of time. The best way I could generally describe that type of movement, think Sentinel from Marvel vs. Capcom 2. You know, in hindsight, that's kind of how I designed Eggman as a whole, with the only exception being his down special, where I decided to make that one feel more like Dr. Eggman himself, a genius who would cheat his way to victory even at the cost of his own ego. Based off Shadow the Hedgehog, his down special is called the Egg Dealer, where Eggman will actually ready himself a slot machine inside his own mech. When activated, a slot machine will appear and will cause a roulette to spin. The rouletting will stop entirely on its own, or if you press down B again, or if you get attacked by an opponent. The slot machine will actually have different types of abilities depending on what happens. If you get no matches at all, nothing really happens. If you get 2 out of 3 matches, you'll get a weaker variant of that type of event happening, and if you get a jackpot, you get the most powerful version of that move. So what are these panels and what do they do? Well, starting off is the Egg Pawn panel. If you either get a match of 2, a single Egg Pawn will appear and run around the stage doing slight damage. However, if you get a jackpot, 2 Egg Pawns will appear, causing a little more mischief to happen. Panel number 2 is the Rocket panel. If you get a pair, only 1 rocket will lock onto the nearest opponent and explode. If you get a jackpot, 3 will fire at once, locking on to the closest enemies. Panel number 3 are bombs. These will have the shape of Eggman, similar to the Death Egg robot, but if you get a single pair, a single bomb will appear in front of Eggman, where he can pick it up or throw it, or wait for it to detonate. But if you get a jackpot, 2 will appear around him. The fourth panel are rings. Working similarly to Tails' moveset in my Tails moveset concept video, rings are basically an item that'll either heal you if they're real, or if they're fake, you can pick up and throw. A single pair will only give you 1 ring, while a jackpot will give you 5. And of course, it wouldn't be an Eggman jackpot if he didn't purposely add a backfire function. So obviously, our last panel is the Eggman panel, where if you either get a pair or a jackpot, will damage the Egg Mech entirely. If you get a single pair, Eggman's mech will gain 5% damage, also hurting the robot in the process. However, a jackpot variant will give you 10% damage and destroy a random piece of the Egg Mech, with no way to actually repair it until you lose a stock. Though this would definitely make Eggman not competitive, that's kind of how Eggman works. Eggman, like most villains in the roster, play unfair and will do whatever it takes to win. Though a lot of the fighters do know how to play dirty, Eggman's kind of known to play dirtier. And finally, for Eggman's final smash, Eggman will fire his blaster forward, and Aimulcot will get paralyzed. Then you'll see Eggman fire a command from his mech, and you'll see in the distance the giant Death Egg robot, fully rebuilt and ready to fire a massive laser down on the stage. This is a cinematic, so it only affects those who were caught by the laser. This is known as the Death Egg's ultimate weapon. And with that, we have set for Smash Dr. Ivo Eggman Robotnik. Though I do think Tails is guaranteed a spot in Smash Bros., Eggman is still a popular choice for a reason. He is one of the fan favorite characters, though it's hard to tell whether he'll join Smash Bros. As a villain, or a boss, or even both. It mostly depends on whether or not Nintendo will add more Sega reps in the near future. But considering a lot of fan demand, I think Eggman's choice is more clear-cut than we all think. And with that, we are now done with Set for Smash Fighter Pass number 6. And thank you all so much for being a part of this Fighter Pass and voting for your most wanted characters in Super Smash Bros. I was genuinely surprised at how this all turned out, and I'm really glad I got to look at a few franchises that I've been meaning to get moveset concepts for. Though I did enjoy doing this, it will probably be a while before we do another fan poll Fighter Pass. But still, I had a great time, and I hope you all did too. If you like what you saw, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. And if you want to support the channel, you can always be a channel member, a Twitch sub, or even donate to my coffee to get your name at the credits. Fighter Pass 6 is done, and Fighter Pass 7 will be in production in 2026, with our theme being modern Nintendo characters. So, I hope you look forward to the next moveset concept.